okay, why I say quote unquote kicked is because I don't know how to like how I'm gonna even phrase some of this. To me, I have a whole different view, I think, than a lot of people about
I think
FaZe.
it's just business again. It's like
That's the thing. You made this distinction between it, and you're right, but that's just not how I personally view it. So I I have a hard time doing that.
tell me from
Splitting
your
the two.
perspective. Tell me from your perspective.
I'm telling you from my perspective. New FaZe reboot and all that. Like, of course, for FaZe as a brand, I'm very, very, very happy, and the brand is at a way better place than it's ever been. Right. But there was things in you and Tico getting kicked, and I've shared it at the beginning, and you know how I've been. So for so many years, for context, right? I've been like I said about after your guys' parties, I'm kind of the cleanup crew, right? That's kind of what I did on the low key. FaZe members know, FaZe staff know. It was not a fun role to be in, but with that, right? I had this trait of trying to keep everything, basically internal and to try to minimize damage. And that's just the way my brain would think. So for so many years, I went back and forth with the corporate side of wanting to do certain things because like this is not going to be good for the FaZe brand. Or like I looked at all the FaZe members as I genuinely mean this. If I ever acted in a different way, then someone pointed out and I apologize. But in my head, I was never like there was very few FaZe members that I ever was like, okay, we can kick that person. Most of them, I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like we get in a call, we need to clear the roster. I'm just like, I'm not sure. Like it was literally like a point that was brought up against me and the other guys multiple times. Like you guys don't want to ever kick anyone. How are we gonna do this and that if you don't want to get rid of anyone? Anyways, that was always a problem for me. Fast forward to the FaZe reboot, whatever happened and all that. The roster to get wiped. In one way, I loved Banks' approach because it's like there's so much stuff that we've been scared to do.
I think it was brilliant. I think they did everything perfect.
I do too. There's so many things that we're scared to do. So ripping the Band-Aid off and just going was definitely what was needed. 100%. 1,000%. And clearly look at the results, right? So I agree. But at the same time, the other side of me, like you said, the human side, it was not the case for there's a lot of people that I kind of felt bad about. Like, dude, there's
Definitely.
a lot of OG people. Like,
and you would have been a psycho not to feel bad about
no,
it.
100%. And I wasn't very comfortable with it.
Of course,
but I could live with it. And like you said, people understood. So even a lot of the OG sniper guys, like, it's weird to not have them in FaZe, but even they were like, I understand, right? But, and I'm just being fully transparent now, the whole reason I said the whole me behind the scenes thing is I never publicly say, this is how I feel, and I disagree. I always just I'm just go with whatever FaZe is saying. Whatever FaZe's voice is saying, and it's not like I'm scared to give my opinion, but I just, in my perspective, that was always the best way for us to approach it.
Well, it's really difficult. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's really difficult for you and sorry to bring this up, to make the distinction between business and like the human side, because you're a man of God. And business is not like really a part of the religion. It's all about being human and all about treating people. So that's naturally like what you gravitate to. You have to be a little bit of a psycho to tap into that business side and be like, yo, this dude's my brother, but we're going to boot him. Like,
Well, you got to have a balance of both.
Yes, exactly.
So like I said, I could wrap my head around some of the people who got kicked, but I swear to God, I'm saying this. And again, I never want to say, oh, this guy did that. I'm not going to name any names. But with you and Tico specifically, this is why it kind of got on my nerves when all the comments.
But that's how people are.
No, it's fine.
Expect it.
So let's just fast forward just so I can give context. Blaziken, when you got kicked, you made a video talking about it, right?
Yes.
And in the video, you just mentioned, you're just talking, you're like, Apex, I texted Apex, he didn't respond to me.
Nothing I said was untrue.
No, 100%. No, I know, I'm saying that. You did not say anything untrue. You said, I texted Apex, he didn't respond, and then I got kicked. And then you kept going. That was like...
There was more context to it. I said, yes, you didn't text me, and then Apex and Temper hopped on a call 100%. With me, and
1,000%. I'm not saying that you did anything wrong.
Okay.
You said nothing. You just told the story. My point is, this was like a 15-minute video. That 45 seconds, all people heard was Apex didn't respond to me and I got kicked. Which again, it's not necessarily untrue, which we'll get to. By the way, thousands of likes. I go to the comments. Not that it's about me. I mean, I completely understand how you felt at that moment. And I genuinely care about you. And I genuinely care. And it's the same thing about Tico. Whether people believe it or not, I swear to God, the things that have bothered me the most are these things. Aside from the stock crashing and all the money that we thought we were going to make. And I've talked to Tico about it. Thank God I have a good relationship with Tico now. But dude, there were so many problems between me and Tico because I was the contact point for him, right? But anyways, for you, I went to the comments and one of the first comments, Apex, can't believe Apex kicked him after all this. What a scumbag. And there's thousands of likes. And I'm like, dude, it was like this one, I can promise you was not me, right? Because basically, now let me go back, right? You texted me a long text message basically asking like, am I gonna get kicked?
This was like 2 months before you guys announced it, right? Or like a
Not
month,
2 months.
right?
It was like maybe let's say a month max. It was a few weeks to like a month.
Okay. I don't know the exact timeline.
I mean, me neither. So maybe you're right. I think it was like a month. But the second you text me, it's a long text. I'm reading it. I'm like, oh my God, right? Because like, again, I'm looking
For context, I don't like doing anything through text, and I guarantee you I called you before I sent that text message. I just want to,
I don't think you did. Because I do not dodge phone calls.
I don't think you dodged it. I think you just were busy or something.
No. If you called me, I would have called you back.
Okay, regardless.
No, because I kind of dodged the text, right? But if you called me, I'm not going to ignore your phone call. And I wasn't even ignoring the text, which was my point. I didn't reply yes. And me and you talked about this, and you're like, I understand, because even when I feel awkward, I don't know what to do. I don't reply either. This is what happened. You texted me, and it's like, bro, I lived with you. I know how much you love FaZe, right? Even you talked about at the beginning of this podcast, how important it is to you. I look at FaZe like it's all of ours. Swear to God, I always, like, to me, it's all of our baby.
That's how I feel too. That's why I haven't changed my ats on any. I was gonna ask you if you guys care that, like, I'm still FaZe
You
Blaze
guys,
on
buddy,
Twitter and on
in my
that's
head, the kind of stuff
like,
that's the kind of stuff that pisses me off.
I'll always be that.
Okay, that's the kind of stuff that pisses me off. Like that you even say that. Okay, because obviously
I don't know what the leader's official position is on this. I've never asked before. I don't know.
I don't know how the other guys feel about it, but to me, nobody on earth can tell any of us to change our name ever. That's how I feel.
That's how I feel.
Especially us in the New York house. So you texted me. I'm looking at it. First off, FaZe at this point is in the worst possible scenario. So it's not like it's for when you say business and this and that. Like this hurt. There's the last two. We've all eaten crap the last 2 years emotionally watching FaZe burn and all the problems. So I couldn't envision, I swear to God, FaZe without you, Tico, or Rain. Just felt very uncomfortable with me. I obviously never left. FaZe is my baby. We all feel the same way. You're wearing FaZe shorts still right now, right? These chairs are both your chairs.
Yeah.
FaZe chairs. Everywhere I look, there's a damn logo, right?
Yeah.
No matter what.
This,
So
the carpet underneath us has FaZe logos on it.
Right. So
for context, this is in my house, and they didn't bring any of this in. Maybe actually that FaZe logo
in your
right
mouse
there.
pad. So either way, you're messaging me like I'm trying to express how I feel reading your message. Like first off, in my head, like you shouldn't even be asking me a question like that because we should all be in FaZe forever, period. Right? I screenshot your text message and I send it to the other people that were facilitating whatever was going on. Like, keep in mind for a month leading up to this point, I'm like, bro, I'm looking at the roster. I'm like, I'm fine with, like I said, I wrap my head around kicking everyone, but I'm like, Tico and Blaze, that makes no sense to me. And the answer was like, yeah, but like you said, it's business. Like, it doesn't make sense for what the future is or whatever. But that was like I would be quiet in the call, not saying anything. At this point, I was very just quiet. I think I got just absolutely destroyed. Emotionally, I think I just got killed. In one way, I swear to God, I feel like part of me died.
I wish we were communicating more because we could have avoided all these
It's not about
weird
you.
feelings.
No, I'm not even talking about you. I'm talking about FaZe. Just the corporate and the lawyers that did this and the guys that left and all that. I think part of me just died, right? So I'm just trying to figure out what's going to happen at the end. So we're finally reacquiring it at 1% of the original,
Yes.
Right? And it's like, okay, let's kick Blaze and Tico. Like for me, I'm like, dude, no way that this is what the other guys want to do too. So anyways, this is one of the only points that I continue to is like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't think we should do this. I think this is stupid. And whatever ended up happening, it's like you texting me that text. I send the screenshot. I get no real response. I'm like, we should talk to Blaze. What do you guys want to do? I don't think we should do this. We need to talk. Literally, if I find you the text messages for those 3 weeks, I didn't reply to you, right? I followed up multiple times. Guys, please, we need to talk to him.
I believe you.
No, I know you believe me. I'm saying this is why I was bothered by that. I'm not making this about. I don't mean to make this about me.
No,
I just
tell
want
the
to.
truth.
I
Tell
just feel like
your
this is my
truth.
chance to get it out.
I feel like you're talking to them. Though.
I am.
Let's just make it clear that I'm already fully
Yeah,
aware
we've
of
already
all this.
talked about it. We've already talked about it. But also, part of me is talking to you because I didn't reply to your text, which I regret.
But it doesn't matter.
But either way,
I never held it against you. I never,
I
for
know.
a second.
From my perspective, though, I felt so bad that this was a real situation, and I didn't want your heart to be broken by the fact that other people didn't want you to be in FaZe. And maybe it doesn't make any sense. It's just how I felt in the moment. Fast forward, it's literally a week. Basically they're waiting on the deal to close to decide like, okay, we're gonna reboot and all that stuff. So I get told like okay, this Saturday we're sending out the message to kick everybody on Friday or Saturday. Or there was even a world where people were gonna just like kind of some people weren't gonna find out.
Damn.
There was just a lot going on. not you necessarily, but at the end of the day, if I didn't call you, I don't know who would have talked to you. So I'm like, dude, we're like days away now and nobody talked to Blaze. This is insane. So I'm like, Tommy got on the phone, we called you, whatever. And we had the conversation. It's like, definitely was, looking back now, I think how things played out, I shouldn't have cared about throwing people under the bus or like how other people, I was worried about doing that. But like, dude, it was like, definitely, although it was I didn't know how to respond to you. If it was me today, I would have just been like, hey, listen, Blaze, this is the situation. I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, I disagree, but this is what the decision, like I would have just told you straight up. But I was like, dude, I don't want you to get sad from it. And I didn't want to throw this guy under the bus. And anyways, it was that's what the situation was. And there's nothing else other than I just wanted to give the story because you didn't say anything wrong at all. You said the story, but the way the internet is, people just heard Apex kicked me. Oh, he didn't reply to my text. Then he called me and kicked me. And I'm just like, well, brother, like I didn't reply because I was stressing about it because I didn't want you to get kicked. I'm not telling you. I know you know that. Sure. But anyways, I wanted to just give context because it is the last thing that I wanted to have.
Speak your truth, brother. I mean, I can tell that this has, been a big topic on your mind for a long time and has affected you. And I apologize for that. Although I don't feel bad for it because I know I didn't contribute to that personally. It's just the way that things, transpired. But you and me have always been good since day. I mean, I've never, ever, and I fully already knew this. So
I'm not, like I said.
And as far as the whole kicking thing goes, I think what you guys did with that was brilliant, bro. If I could go back, do it all again the same way, bro. You guys, it was free marketing. You know how much FaZe's name was trending?
No, you're right.
Kicking me. So the video and the tweet that I did. I mean, it's.
So you're right. To your point of separating. That's why Banks. And I'm not. This is not implying that he's not a good person or I'm a good person. I can't. It's just to your point. Some people have that ability to separate the two. Banks does. And by the way, Banks is like Banks. I don't blame him at all for the whole strip down and reboot unapologetic because for years we were told you can't do this, you can't do that. And we tried to do things in different ways. So understandably, it was, he got to a point where there's no other way. The company either dies or we do this. And he was right. And you're right. Maybe it worked out. It did work out. It did work out. Maybe that was the right thing. Even you and Tico. Maybe there's a world.
No.
No. See,
even if me and Tico stayed in FaZe and we had the opportunity to be a part of this new era FaZe, one, I don't think we would have taken. I don't even think we would have gone for it. And two, Adapt's really the only one that fits in with those.
No, I know.
Adapt. He's the genuine, entertaining one. My
view on this is if you and Tico were on the roster, there would only be a positive impact on that. No negative could have came from that. That's my view.
I think
that's why I was against it. Either way, you're right. Banks did an amazing job with the reboot. For FaZe's brand, 10 out of 10. I'm just saying for you guys not being in FaZe was the one in Rain, obviously, which was his decision, right? But that is the one thing that is just like, I personally, maybe I'm wrong, and that's why I'm like, Banks, you do your thing, because maybe I'm not the guy to run it at all, and I don't want to do that right now anyways. Banks is doing way better than I could anyways, but maybe I'm wrong about that, but that was the thing. I just didn't think that it would make a difference that was worth quote unquote kicking or not inviting to the new iteration of it or whatever.
I think you're right. I don't think it would have negatively impacted it, but I think kicking us offered a great opportunity to start fresh and also add some hype to it. It was a big thing to talk about. And you got to remember that there's no such thing as bad publicity. Any publicity is good publicity. So people were talking about FaZe and it was like a good, it all worked out.
It did.
It's how you capitalize off it. Even people, for example, a streamer, in my eyes, a streamer can't get canceled unless you do something really effed up. Just for saying something, I don't think you can get canceled. The only thing you can do is just stop making content. You as a content creator, the only thing, when people say your music career is what derailed your YouTube career, no, obviously not. What derailed my YouTube career is me just not continuing to make YouTube videos.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's
not that I'm giving an opinion on this guy at all or saying that he doesn't deserve to be canceled, whatever, but Dr. Disrespect. Right.
No, I mean, that's different. That's completely different because that's SA is, I have a zero tolerance for that.
Can you hear me out what I'm saying? I'm not talking about what he did.
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about should he have been canceled or not. That's all I'm saying. Saying he is the first person that I've seen say, I don't care if you're canceling me. And he kept making content and he signed a Rumble deal after that. And he's been growing. Again, I'm not.
That's how it is.
But I'm just bringing a point up to your point.
Look at Logan Paul.
Most people that got canceled,
dead body in the Japanese forest, and now he's crushing.
Most people that got canceled, you're right. Maybe it was more that they stopped.
That's all it is. It's not a maybe.
That's very interesting.
Unless you did something really morally reprehensible, like But even then, there's still
No, but
always going to be an audience of people.
like
who
I
rock
just
with
said,
you
like I
regardless.
just said,
So it's-
right? You could say that that's
True,
the case
true,
for Dr.
true.
Respect.
No, you honestly, you're 100%
And
right.
he's
Yeah, you're
so
100% right.
that's a very. I think in general, cancel culture's kind of died out now.
I don't think it ever existed. I think sure,
Brother, it existed. Cancel culture was insane for a few years. Are
bro.
you
Yes,
trolling?
the idea of people getting butthurt about things, but I don't subscribe to the idea that you can get canceled. I think whoever got canceled, all they did was stop making content.
Well, I don't know. I don't think that's the case because I think there's some people. Maybe you're right as like a creator because you could just keep going. But there's basketball players and
No,
stuff.
I mean,
there's
listen,
basketball players that like.
I'm talking strictly about being a content creator.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
If you're a basketball player, you're working for the NBA. Basically.
Yeah, then you don't get signed to a team.
You're an employee.
No one
for
will
the
sign
NBA.
you when you get canceled.
Yes, no, of course.
No sponsors will. So yeah, for actors too, right? So I get your point though. But anyways, so
sorry if I didn't clarify. I meant specifically like in our universe. I don't subscribe to the idea of you can get canceled. Like people can hate you, but that doesn't mean that your career is dead. Your career is dead when you stop making content.
Yeah.
That's simply it. So
no, that's a great point, and I never thought about it, but you're right. Now that I'm reflecting on the people that have gone through cancellation, quote unquote, you're right. But I really, and I'm sure a lot of people are gonna have a lot of respect for you the way that you're talking about everything. But how FaZe, like you're hyping up FaZe and best decision ever to kick me from like it's basically
Dude,
what you're
it's great.
saying. And
you don't
and,
like the thing is too. I'm just gonna say it like this. It's gonna make me sound like an ass, but I guarantee you, nobody from the OG FaZe era lives a better life than me, and everything has happened for a reason, bro. And I'm glad that you guys kicked me from FaZe. I'm genuinely thankful because the doors that opened because of that moment like wouldn't have happened, you know. So
well, I'm very happy to hear. I'm very happy that that's the case. Again, like it's like a weird. Even when you say that, I'm glad that you guys kicked me like that. It's like a weird thing. At the end of the day, your point of that doors opened up when you were no longer a part of FaZe. I'm just gonna start phrasing it like that. Okay, when you were no longer a part of the FaZe ecosystem, and I'm very happy that that's the case. So tell us what has. I mean, you already kind of touched on it that you moved to the house and moved with your friends, but like what are the good things that came out of that in your life, and like what are you doing now? Like what are you up to now? What's your day to day? What's the future of you looking?
Let's
like?
do a follow podcast. Let's do a follow podcast like a year or two from now. I'm not a big believer in like telling what you got going on right now for multiple reasons. I think just keep quiet until you actually do things.
Okay.
And then two, it also paints a huge target on your back. I mean, in our industry, everybody does the same.
Yeah.
Like and if you have methods, if you have like systems, you need to safeguard those as closely as possible. So I really don't want to come on your podcast and say like what I'm doing here.
I understand,
but
I that makes sense. That makes sense. No, you already touched on it. You're doing.
Know what I do because I told you and I trust you.
We just talked about it. I just mean like, what is Blaze doing? I think not the details of what you're doing.
I'm every day I wake up happy as. I'm excited to live my life and do everything that I do throughout my day. Every day I wake up next to the most beautiful woman in the entire world. And everybody thinks their partner's the best, but genuinely, like I am fully convinced that I'm dating the most beautiful girl on the planet. She is the best person I've ever met. I could not speak more highly of Carrington. Makes me so happy. She's my best friend. Every day I get to spend my time with the people I love. My parents are both still alive. My sister's alive and she's doing well. And like those are the things I appreciate, bro. It's like you'll look back at your life and wish you had what you had now.
100%.
And I'm just trying to be
that's
as present
beautiful.
as possible.
I'm sure there are a lot of people that are very happy to hear that, and I'm very, very happy.
Also, I'm just thankful. I used to do a lot of dumb like drugs and like even like nicotine. Like I think nicotine is a lot of people swear by it. They're like, oh, nicotine is so good. I think, dude, the cleaner you can be in every aspect of life, the better your life will be. You will be, the more the more fun you will have, the more bro, it's listen to your self.
Okay,
when
stop.
when you are, that's when you're the healthiest. When you're not healthy. So if you're not, get healthy, bro. Start exercising, start eating different, start doing something, you know, that's where your power comes from your, bro.
All right. I'm very happy. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy. I'm very happy to hear where you're at mentally, not even just mentally, period.
But physically, I have a broken foot. It's not
okay, but you're hopping up and down the stairs like it's nothing. So
I've been doing it for 8 weeks. So.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll be healed soon.
Yes.
But yeah, it's cool. I guess maybe we'll do a follow up, like you said.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of the things that you've been involved in. You've talked about a few of them, and people. I've seen a lot of comments about people like, wow, like Blaze is, like they've recognized the business minded side of you, I guess, to phrase it. Because like you said, you have two sides, I guess, that you can. Anyways, people have seen that you have that skill, and you've talked a little bit about things that you want to do. So I would love to do a follow-up and see what you do in a few years from now. But in general, I don't even have to ask the question if you're happy because you seem very, very happy. So
I'm even happier that you're here, bro, dude. I
I'm-
haven't seen you in
I
so
know,
long.
I'm very
bro.
happy to see you too.
I don't
I'm
hold it
very-
against you because like you are, like you're busier than me. So it's
Yeah, we're just far. The thing is,
Yeah.
we're 2 hours away right now.
yeah, but we can make an effort. You know,
We
I
could.
could make an effort more. You're
We
making a serious effort by coming up here for this content.
mean,
so I
thank you.
promise you, I'll make an effort to come down and
If you ever come down towards where I'm at, it's the same thing, man. I haven't seen anyone, man, barely.
and it's
When I
not
saw-
anything personal, right?
No, it's not,
That's
yeah.
the thing that's
When I saw Tico, I was like, dude, I was so. It's the same with you. Like, I'm happier to just see you guys than even film. It's a great excuse to see everyone. It's gonna be a great video. I'm excited to post it. But like Tico, I've been trying to see him because he was in LA. You know what I mean? Then he moved to Vegas, and he's like, when I come to LA, we got like he would text me and be like, oh, and then we'd go back and forth, and we just never did. So like, you know, unfortunately, I'm fasting now, so we can't go hang out and eat lunch. But like with Tico, that was what I enjoyed the most, is getting dinner with the guy for freaking 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And just like hanging out. So it's the same with you. And whenever I see Adapt or Banks and Tommy, and it's like disconnected from filming, and you know, like that is. And Rain, of course, I love Rain. Rain is, when I talk to Rain on Discord, it's like nothing changed,
yeah,
which is
no,
great.
absolutely.
I feel like Rain, he is like Rain, the guy I know. The Rain that we knew and loved is like fully the same guy that I'm talking to today. Which for a few years, I don't think that was the case. It wasn't the case for everybody. I think we all just had a mental block and a lot of things. But anyways, at the end of the day, thank you for having me here to film this.
Absolutely.
Very happy, very, very happy to see. I've already spoke to you